Hello, everybody. This is Dr. Conrad Vine. I want to share with you some good news from the Gospel of John, chapter 8, the story of the woman caught in adultery. Now, in life, sometimes we face a lot of criticism. Some people watching as I talk here today, some of us are experiencing a lot of harsh words in our homes, a lot of bitter criticism. Some criticism is fair, and some of it is very unfair. We wake up in the morning, and all through the day, all we hear is negativity. We hear phrases like, "My mother was right," "I should never have married you," "I could have done better than you," "I'm wasting my time with you," "You're worthless," "I don't know what's going to happen in our future." And we go through our lives and through our days with this constant negativity. And we wonder, is there any escape from this? And when we experience this continual negativity, it erodes our confidence. It brings down our spirits. And so eventually we become almost numb to the constant criticism coming our way. There is a story in the Bible that relates to this experience that tragically is all too common for many people today. We find it in the story of the woman caught in adultery. Now, the story here is that the religious leaders, the Pharisees and the scribes and the lawyers, they wanted to find a reason to attack Jesus. And so one of these leaders seduced this woman. This woman may well have been Mary Magdalene. If so, she may well have been a prostitute. But she was merely a pawn in the hands of those leaders in their attempt to destroy Jesus. And so as we go through this story of this woman, I want you to place yourself in her situation. I want you to imagine, what does she see? What does she hear? What does she taste? And what does she feel? As we go through the story of John 8, this woman, first of all, hears seductive words. She hears lying words. The Russian expression for this is lapsha na usha, which means spaghetti on the ear. And in the English idiom, we speak of sweet nothings. When a teenage boy says to a teenage girl, "I will love you till the day I die," she knows it sounds sweet, but she also knows, if she's sensible, it means almost nothing. And so this lady caught in adultery, she hears sweet nothings, lying words, warm words, cozy words, seductive words, and she falls for those words. The next words that she hears are voices of anger, voices of shock, voices of rage. "Look what we found. How could you do this, you wretched woman?" And this woman is dragged out from wherever she has been with the man, and the man is gently hustled off to the side, and he's not going to be accused of anything. But this woman caught in adultery, she's going to be made an example of. And so she goes from tasting illicit love to tasting the bitterness of betrayal, and she looks around, and in her eyes, all she sees are angry eyes and bitter faces, and fists raised in her face, men who want to destroy her. And she is dragged, shame of shame and horror of horrors, into the center of the temple of Jerusalem, where large crowds are gathered, and she probably wishes that she could just die, or just the ground would open and swallow her up. All she feels are angry glares, hostile glares, condemning glares, contemptuous glares, and angry voices. And she is thrown at the feet of a strange man who comes from Galilee. And the scribes, the Pharisees, the religious leaders are condemning her. They're describing her sin in great detail. She is embarrassed. She is horrified. She is mortified. Oh, that this ordeal would end. There is no escape from this ordeal. And they're calling for her to be stoned to death, for such was the requirement in the law of Moses. And so there is fear growing in her heart. Does she have a friend? Does she have any friends? Will anybody stand up for this woman? And then the man in front bends down. He writes in the sand. And there is silence for a few minutes. Then he stands up and he speaks to the assembled accusers, those who hate her, and he says, "If anyone among you is without sin, let him be the first to cast a stone." And then he bends down again and he writes silently in the dust on the ground. And she doesn't see it very much, because her head is down in the sand, but she hears the sound of the crowd slowly fade away. She hears footsteps disappearing into the distance. She hears the sound of the crowd turning their back on her and slowly dissipating, until finally, in a moment of blessed relief, there is silence. There is no accusation. There is no judgment. There is no condemnation. There is just silence. Many people today just yearn for a moment of silence, for a few minutes when the accusation, the condemnation, the sneering and the mockery will stop, and you can be given a few moments of peace. Maybe that's all this woman was hoping for, but not in the eyes of God. He had something far better for this woman. Jesus stands up from writing on the ground, and he says, "Where are they? Has no one condemned you?" The text said, "No one, sir." And Jesus said, "Well, neither do I condemn you. Go in peace and sin no more." It's a beautiful story because God doesn't just leave her with a moment of silence. He gives her a positive affirmation. He gives her through Jesus the affirmation that despite her past, God is at peace with her and she can be at peace with God. This story is a reminder that in a world of angry words, in a world of accusing words, in a world of bitter words, in a world where all we hear is negativity and a stream of hatred and anger coming our way, this story is a reminder that the only voice that matters is the voice of Jesus, and it's Jesus who has the final word for all who kneel at his feet. And Jesus does not condemn. Yes, he knows our past, but he offers us a better way in the future, and he gives us the promise of peace or reconciliation with God. Jesus has the final word. His word is the only word that matters. So if you're watching this today and you're living through negativity, you're living through constant criticism, all you get from sunup to sundown are people attacking you and demeaning you and diminishing you and making fun of you, I want to give you a word of encouragement today. Jesus knows who you are. He sees where you are. He knows your past. But if you kneel before him today, you ask him to read your heart, you ask him to minister to your heart, he's not going to condemn you. And despite what this world may say about you today, it's Jesus that has the last say in your life and your eternal destiny. And he does not condemn, but he's offering you the chance today for a new life, a new purpose, and a new direction, and the promise of reconciliation with a loving Heavenly Father. So may God bless us as we live our lives in this broken world. May God give us the assurance that it is his Son who loves this world, who came into this world to seek and to save that which was lost, who came to give his life a sacrifice for many, to make atonement for many, to make atonement for me and for you. It is this self-same Jesus who will have the final say in my eternal destiny and in yours as well. So turn your eyes to Jesus and see what he can do for you today. May God bless you, and never forget this: Jesus has the final say. Amen.